at what you love to do isn't easy. I make mistakes. They're part of the process. And when you have teachers that understand all kids learn differently, that all children are unique, becoming a better version of yourself is something any kid can achieve.
My name's Lisa. My son Charlie has done almost 30 lessons. They've got a really unique, fun way of teaching them. What's really great is that we get the same teacher every lesson, and we're loving it.
Jake is definitely a self-starter, and he's the one that chose coding. The one-on-one coding classes is what helped us. Who would have thought that our 10-year-old boy has this excitement to be an entrepreneur? I love watching it.
Confidence levels in terms of translating what she has in her mind to what's on the paper is skyrocketed actually after the course.
Every time she finishes and submitted her project, they gave her like hats off, they gave her some stickers, some shapes that she can collect and then redeem for more points, and they show where she is on the board.
It's been fantastic to see her journey from kind of hating math and learning math through this unconventional approach to coding, then seeing the improvement in her schoolwork.
So now that we have 2 coding enthusiasts here at the house has never been quieter, and their grades are so good, particularly in math.
My coding teacher, sometimes I feel like she knows more things than my school teacher.
What I'm doing with block coding and HTML and mobile apps is I'm actually making publishable apps, which is really cool.
I like BYJU's art because I like animating. How creative and fun and exciting it is. My teacher is super nice. They're all very helpful.
My teacher's name is Sonia. She's always so enthusiastic, and I can ask her any questions I want to about the code.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Sonia.
Alex. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
So, in today's class, we'll learn about creating 2 constrained bodies, and we will have fun while doing so.
So you can go on the walls, you can jump on them. So this is all the code.
When I joined the art, animation and video classes, I was actually expecting to learn how to draw, but then they made it even more fun by teaching me to draw and how to use it in the computer.
Hi, my name is Yohakshia. So my game is called Pizza Chef Hobby, and in this game I learned different things such as placing parts, adding texture, color, adding code to different objects, setting a mood and a theme, and adding traps such as lava, spikes, and killing blocks.
We made a Clayton, which is a monster with stop motion. Was really fun. Yes.
My teacher and I are coding a new space simulator comparing the gravities of black holes to Mars.
Tyler's definitely learning more science here than he is at school.
I'm highly recommending it.
If I had a message for any other parent about, I would say try it and do it. Your kids will almost certainly love it. It's a really accessible and fun way to get into coding.
Hello and welcome to another epic BYJU Summer Camp and White Hat Junior Global Skill Fest session. My name is Bethany and I am so excited to be here with you guys today. Just a quick reminder, you can double click in the center of your screen for a full screen experience. And if you want to ask questions or answer some of our awesome polls, check out the Q&A section off to the right side of the screen. And just so you know, the chat is currently disabled, but you can ask questions using that Q&A function or even upvote some of the questions that you like. So make sure to use that. All right, who's ready to get started? I hope you all brought some supplies. We can see that some of you are asking what supplies do you need. So I'll go over that list just now, but we are going to be talking about tips and tricks to survive a zombie apocalypse. So if you can gather a pen or pencil, some paper, a plastic trash bag, some sticks, some rags, maybe a plastic bottle, a whistle, and a mirror. Nothing is required, but these will all help you sort of follow along today with our awesome guest. All right, so before I get started, before I introduce our guest, I'd love to get to know each other a little bit better. So we're gonna be putting up a poll question right now, and I promise you it's super simple. It's just, how old are you? So look for that poll question and let's see what ages everybody is here in our summer camp session today. All right, let me take a look. All right. I love looking at this live information coming in. Looks like the 9 to 11-year-olds are currently winning. Oh, 12 to 14 just took over. We have such a vast range here today, but it's going to be so great. No matter what age you are, you're going to learn how to survive a zombie apocalypse. All right, speaking of zombies, our next poll question. Which of these are you least excited to be stuck in? Would it be a zombie apocalypse? Would it be lost in a jungle, stuck in a hurricane, stuck in a tornado, or stuck in quicksand? Whichever one you're least excited about. Oh, zombie apocalypse. All right, 100%. Oh, wait, no, we got it. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Some answers are coming in. Quicksand. Yes, that's scary. But our guest, he will be teaching you how to survive a zombie apocalypse, but he's a survival expert, so he might even have some tips and tricks for all these other crazy things. All right, number 3. What would your top choice be to bring to survive a zombie apocalypse? Would it be water, food, a tent, a whistle, or a source of light? I'm going to tell you, I think mine would be food. Let me vote on that. Oh, source of light currently is winning. Oh, food overtook it. There you go. Lots of people worried about food, just like me. Food and water kind of are an even split. No, but very few people would bring a whistle, and very few people would bring a tent, which is cool because I think we're going to learn how to build one today. All right, next question. What preparation would you do to survive a zombie apocalypse? Would you read online on how to survive? Would you ask friends or family for tips? Would you work out to build those strong muscles? Or, here we go, attend Mykel Hawke survival training session. This is a no-brainer, but let's see what you guys pick. Let's go to the poll. Oh, there we go. Attend Mykel Hawke's survival training session as 82% currently. Guys, yep, 82, there we go. This is good. It's a no-brainer. And you know what? I think we're just about ready to bring out our zombie survival expert, Mykel Hawke. Mykel is a retired Special Forces officer and combat veteran who is best known for appearing in over 50 TV shows in survival and special ops, such as Man, Woman, Wild, and One Man Army. He has 2 black belts and a master's degree, and Mykel is one of the mentors on the Discovery Channel shows India's Ultimate Warrior, so many of you might have seen him already. He's the military survival and special ops expert on Fox's new show with Kelsey Grammer called Legends and Lies. And he also has a very special guest with him today, his son, Gabe. So everyone, let's give a very enthusiastic welcome to Mykel and his son, Gabe, to the BYJU Summer Camp and White Hat Junior Global Skill Fest. All right, drum roll, please. Virtual drum rolls, however you want to do it. There they are. Hey!
Hey, everybody. All right. Bethany, thank you for that wonderful intro.
Yes, Mykel and Gabe, we have so many kids here that are so excited, and me too. I'm so excited to learn about how to survive a zombie apocalypse. I hope you guys are excited. The stage is all yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys. Welcome to How to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse with me, Mykel Hawke, and my awesome son, Gabriel, who is a survivalist in training. And what we're going to talk to you guys about today are some serious survival hacks for how you can get through a zombie apocalypse. But first thing we want to do before we talk about any of that, we want to do our own little poll because we were digging all the answers you guys were giving us. So, Gabe, what kind of poll question would you like to ask the kids out there?
I'd have to say, for the first poll, out of all survival situations, what would be your least favorite environment to be in?
That's a good one. That's a good one. And now I'm just wondering if we're able to look at that little thing up here. And then what would be the second poll question you'd like to ask them?
The second poll question.
Hold on. What your favorite place to survive? Okay. So what would be your least favorite? And then what would be your most favorite place to survive? We're curious because it's always good to know what people like and what they don't like. And for all the people who said they want to take the Mykel Hawke Zombie Apocalypse Survival class, 82%, y'all are going to make it. The rest of you, I don't know. Not too sure. No, you're all going to make it. You are all going to make it. It's going to be fine. Okay, so do we have answers here? I don't see any answers on that one. Okay. All right. That is fine. We can come back to those poll questions afterwards and find out what you guys like the most and what you like the least. Okay. First and foremost, we're talking about zombie apocalypse. You got to know the basic rules. They're simple. They're easy. First and foremost is if you're hiding from a zombie and he doesn't see you, what do? You stay put. That's the best thing that you can do, and let that zombie just go on by, right? Now, if you're hiding from a zombie and he sees you, what's the best thing you can do? Run, Forrest, run. Get away from that guy, right? Don't let him get a hold of you. They want to eat your brains and stuff. It's no good. You don't like that. You want your brains to stay where they are, right? So that said, the number one rule for zombie apocalypse survival is if you see a zombie, do not engage, do not fight. That's the number one rule, right? Hide or run. That's it, because those mamma jammas are yucky and they're ugly and don't want to play with them. Okay, so those are the number one rules for your zombie apocalypse survival. If one busts into your house right now while you're sitting through this class, you know exactly what to do, right? Okay, I hope so, because there will be a test after that. Speaking of test, we are going to cover what I like to call the 8 pillars of survival in this block of instruction. And we are going to teach you some quick little hacks that you can use for all of the 8 little areas that you need to know. And while we're doing this, you guys can be thinking about what you want to do to pack your own little survival kits and make your own survival bag ready to go. So Gabe has a survival bag sitting
right behind my door. Keep it ready to leave whenever if I need.
And how light is it?
It's fairly light. You need something that you can leave in a speedy situation with, but you also need a substantial amount of things packed. So.
Right. So I thought because what I hear when I say, hey, put this on and let's see how you wear it and all that kind of stuff, because you got to practice everything and try everything. And he's like, Dad, this thing's way too heavy. So I look at him and just say, hey, it's not 100 pounds, so it's okay. And then he looks at me and goes, and that's how we go. But we actually practice what we preach at home. So first thing, let's talk about survival kits and the 8 pillars of survival. Let me show you some demos here. Okay. So first thing you can do is you can make your own survival kit, and they can be big or they can be tiny. You see that right there? So let's move those out of the way. That's all that you need to make a really good survival kit. And you can carry this on you in your pocket. You can carry it in your little backpack when you go to school. If you have a little backpack you can keep in the family car, or if you go to work with your family, anything like that. You just need a little teeny thing. And a really good thing to have in all survival bags, string and tape. I cannot tell you, my wife, Miss Ruth, she jokes me all the time because I tell her, hey, if I've got string and tape, I can fix anything. I can make a space rocket with that, right? So you don't need to have a big thing, but you should have a little survival kit. So what do you want to put in your survival kit? You want to make sure that you have
food, water, string, tape.
Right? But the pillars, okay, food, water, fire,
shelter,
navigation,
communication.
Yes. And then first aid and tools, right? So those are the 8 pillars. You might want to jot those down. You may see them again when we're done at the end of this class, right? So now talk about the 8 pillars, and we talked about how to start looking at making your survival kit. You can even start building it right now today while we're doing this. One of the first things everybody gets all excited about is food, right? So be sure you pack your bag with food that you like to eat, right? But what do you do when that food runs out or you don't have that food? Then you got to start thinking about foraging for survival, right? So one of, I think, the easiest things to get, and everybody loves these, right? Num-nums, bugs. Bugs are everywhere in the world. They are easy to find. They're easy to catch. And so that's one of the reasons why we teach bugs as a fantastic survival food. Not only because they're plentiful and easy to catch, but
they also have more nutrients pound for pound than many, many other types of meat, pretty much all of them. And they are available under every little surface. You can just lift up a log and find them.
And what's the general rule for when you look for bugs?
You don't want to eat all of them because not all bugs are safe to eat. You always want to have parental permission and an adult around you while doing such. But general rule is if it's colorful, bright, it's probably spiteful and it's trying to hurt you. If it's dull and bland looking, then it's most likely edible and safe.
So the basic rule is if it's bright, it ain't right. If it's bland, it's just grand. That's something you can remember. Okay. And always, whatever you do, just remember you got to catch these bugs. You got to wash these bugs. You got to cook these bugs, and always do it with an adult around, like your parents, to say, yes, that's okay. And that said, let's show you a little video about finding bugs.
Here's a creepy crawly. Look at that. See that right there? That right there? Save that for eating later, guys. We're going to give you a class on how to eat these bugs. Of course, you want to cook them, but that's a pure protein source right there. Mother Nature's gift. A complete meal with all the nutrients you need. Nom nom dinner. Save that.
Okay, so y'all like that? I hope so, because now we have a bowl of bugs that we found. Num num. Take a look at these. All kinds of delicious and nutritious. Now, we've rinsed these and we've cooked these, so they're all good. And just remember, you got to wash them, got to clean them, got to check with your parents. But we're going to show you exactly what they taste like now. So all you got to do is pop them in your mouth. They actually do taste good. It is a very different flavor, so you have to not be so squeamish about trying something new. But they are actually very good.
Yeah.
And they are the best food source out there, just because they are completely nutritious and they have all the trace minerals and nutrients that you don't get in any other food source, because these are a complete life force. So hunt for bugs for survival is a good strategy. That said, as we dine, we're going to show you another video, because we know most people don't really want to eat bugs. So there's a lot of things out in your environment that you can forage for, plants that you can eat. It's very wise to study the plants around you, ask your parents what's edible, start learning, on your way to school, on your way to work with your folks, what's around you in your neighborhood or in the parks where you play that you can eat. But always ask a parent. And whatever you do, always make sure you wash it and you clean it. But we're going to show you a little example of how you can forage and harvest food out in the wild. Cue the palm video, please.
Okay, there's lots of things that you can eat out in the wild. It's good to study the things in your environment. Here where we are, there's lots of this saw palmetto. You don't want to waste any time or energy. So since we cut off all the palm fronds for our shelter, for our bedding and our roof, we're going to go ahead and eat this heart of palm, right? So it's pretty easy. Anyone could do it. These grow everywhere in the world. All palms are edible. It's a little bit of work. So you got to kind of try to get as close to the center as you can. So I'm going to have to bend all these things out of the way that I chopped. Just remember, everything you do, go slow. Think about what could go wrong. Prevention is your best first aid. So if you just look before you grab anything, think before you do anything, you'll probably be pretty safe. So now I'm just trying to get a little bit more room in here. And now I'm going to try to get in a good position. This soft, squishy stuff is what we're going to eat. And if I can get down deep enough and pull it out. Okay, Gabe, come finish her off. Wiggle it left and right, pull up as hard as you can, mind your head. There you go. Nice. Don't lose all those white ones. That's the edible stuff. Give it a taste. Nice. Good. Bite. Food, nature. Thank you. All right. No time for eating. Let's get to work.
All right. I think personally, there's probably always a little bit of time for eating. You got to eat, right? So what we wanted to then demonstrate, the beautiful thing about the palm is that they are all over the world, all different kinds. And the best part is they all are edible. So if you don't mind, go ahead and pull up the little chart of some of the universally edible plants that are found all over the planet. So what we have is we teach that it's good to learn the plants that are all around the world. So no matter where you go, you can find them. They're easily identified. And the most important part when you're studying your plants is make sure that there are no dangerous look-alike plants, right? So things like Heart of palm, we actually had one land on our house in a storm because we live in Florida. There's always hurricanes. And so, yeah, it dented our gutter, but we ended up harvesting it and actually eating the heart of palm. So we got some good out of it, right? Cacti are all over the world. All of them are edible except the barrel cactus, and that looks like a barrel, so it's pretty easy to identify. Dandelions are all over the world. They look a little bit different, but they're all basically the same, and you can eat all the parts of the dandelions. Now, they're a little bit bitter, right? But I like them because I can make coffee out of the roots. I can make salad out of the leaves, and of course, I can just eat the very rich in vitamin C yellow heads, right? Yeah. Just don't eat them when they're all flour like little puff balls. Oh, yeah. That's not so good, right? We tried that, didn't work out too well. So that's basically your briefing on edible bugs and edible plants. And the main thing is always ask a grown-up, make sure that you always clean them and prepare them nicely, and always do it with your parents supervising, right? Okay, that said, what's the next pillar of survival after food? Water. Well, the thing about the pillars of survival, if you're in a pouring down rain, water might not be a priority. Food might be first, right? If you've got a giant bag of food and a big gallon of water, you might not need water. Then shelter becomes more important, right? So the priorities will move around according to what supplies you have, right? So these are just 8 pillars across the board, right? But the ones that every human needs is food, water, fire, and shelter, right? So for water, the best thing is to always have it on you, right? So you want to pack your survival bag with some water, preferably a good device for carrying water. For example, the military, we use these big old canteens. It brings a lot of water, and it comes with something that we can boil the water in to make it safe to drink if we need, okay? Or just a good old-fashioned plastic bottle, you know. And the good thing about these plastic bottles are not only will it carry your water, in a pinch, you could actually boil water to make it safe in these. But also, even if you can't get a fire, what's the other way you can make these safe to drink?
You can filter it out.
You can, yes, you can filter it. And what's another way?
Just letting it sit in the sun.
Yes, that's
Easiest.
Yes, absolutely easiest. Takes the longest.
Yeah.
But with a plastic bottle with clear water in it, you set this down in the ground in the direct sunlight for 8 hours. The UV light will come in and actually kill all the bacteria in it that would make you sick, right? After 8 hours in the sun, direct sunlight, UV, you have now made your bottle of water safe to drink. So it doesn't kill it as well as boiling. Boiling is always the very best way to make your water safe. That's exactly right. And that will kill all the bacteria that makes you sick, and it will be good to store for a long time. But if you can't boil it, you sit it in the sun, and it will, after 8 hours, make it safe enough to drink. Still a little bit of bacteria, but not enough to make you sick. So you have to drink it at night, because by the next day, the bacteria will have grown a little bit more and could make you sick. So sunlight by day, hydrate by night, okay? That's another thing you could do. Other methods you can use. Water tablets, okay?
Chlorine ones always taste better.
Yes, that's a really important thing. There are all different kinds of tablets on the market. Some are iodine based and some are chlorine based. The iodine are pretty good. It's what the military uses. But if you have allergies to shellfish, you don't want to use the iodine. So I normally tell people to go ahead and use the chlorine type, because A, there's no smell, there's no color. It tastes a little bit better, and you don't have to worry about any issues, right? Or you can just carry a little teeny chlorine tablets anywhere. They're so light and they're easy to have. And if you just can't make the water safe, if it's raining and there's no sunlight, or you can't make a fire to boil, then tablets, or what we call chemical treatment, are a really good way to go. Another thing you can do is mechanical.
The straw. It uses filtration and different layers to make the water safe to drink by the time it reaches your mouth.
So, and it's super easy. You just pop the top and stick it in your water source, and then you start drinking. So the challenge about a survival straw, though, is you do need some kind of a container so that you can be mobile, right? Because remember, a container is really important. So if you do have to walk back to safety, you need to be able to travel with the water so you can stay hydrated before you get to another water source, right?
It also makes it so that you don't have to lean down to unsafe waters and put your head near possibly dangerous animals just to get a drink. If you can have it in a canteen or some kind of safe bottle, then you can get away from that water source. And then
right. So what he's saying, basically, instead of sticking my face down to the water where the zombies can get me, I can bring the water up to my head, and I can keep my eyes open while I'm drinking, looking for the zombies in case I got to run, right? So that's a really good tip right there. That said, those are the basics on water. Oh, and one more thing. Let's say you don't have a bottle, right? But you can find plastic bag. I mean, you can use this as a canteen. Give me a little water in there, please.
Virtually everywhere. You can find trash bags on every surface.
Thank you, sir. That's plenty. All right. So you got yourself a Ziploc. Zip that baby up. Make sure you do it right, because otherwise you might find out the hard way that you didn't do it right. And then you'll be a little moistly. But even that, you can turn it to a positive so that you can basically take a shower or clean your bag or whatever, right? So the thing about survival is you got to remember, you're going to learn, you're going to make mistakes, things are going to go wrong. You got to keep a sense of humor. You got to stay positive, right? Because hey, we all make mistakes. You learn, you laugh, then you get better at it the next time. And that's how you make sure that you keep your spirits up so the zombies can't get you down, right? Okay, so now we've talked about
water, fire,
well, food. So what's next? The fire, right? So let's talk a little bit about fire. The absolute best thing that you can ever have is what?
A lighter.
A
Most
lighter.
definitely.
Lighter or matches. And why is that?
It's the easiest.
Right, 100%. If you've ever rubbed sticks together, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. It can all be done, but you don't want to have to do that when you're worried about zombies, right? So safest thing is have lighter and matches. But remember, with the fire, always, what do you do?
You always need to clear your area around your fire so that none of the embers can land on anything and spread a wildfire. And you want to make sure that you have some form of water. So if anything goes south, you can always put it out.
I like that, if anything goes south. And always make sure you do it with parental supervision, okay?
Absolutely.
So you got to be safe about it. But like I said, you can have lighters and matches. You can have some magnesium or ferro rods so you can get the sparks and get a fire going. You can use some fire starter tinder, okay? You might want to have something that you can cook in, right? So, and one of the easiest ways to have a fire is just a lighter and a candle. And with the candle, you can have light, you can have heat, you can actually cook little bugs, you can boil a little bit of water, maybe keep the critters away and be able to see. So it's not so scary when you're alone in the dark hiding from the zombies, right? So those are easy things to do. And then when you do build your fire and you make sure it's a safe place and you got the water and you got the parents, one of the big things is make sure you get enough firewood, right? I think you've had some experiences with that.
Yeah. Whenever you think that you'll be fine, when you're going to bed, you're at a stable temperature, by the time that you wake up in the middle of the night, you will be freezing. Your fingers are going to feel like they're going to fall off. So it's good to have a steady amount of wood to obviously keep the fire going, but also to keep it in a close proximity to you. You want to have it so it's kind of, you can do it from underneath your little head covering, and you can have protection from the outside wilderness as you're feeding your fire throughout the night.
Excellent points. That's from experience. I've seen him wake up at 4 a.m. saying, "Oh, Dad, please help." So other things you can do, check with your parents. You might want to get like a fancy stove or a little camping stove. They're too easy to have, light, not very expensive, and they're just fantastic tools so that you can be able to boil it, water, and cook food while you're out there surviving, hiding out from the zombies, right? So that said, I see that Gabe has something over here sitting out of my eyesight. Okay. It's just a little rose. We grab that just real quickly, just to kind of quickly demonstrate, just like all over the world, you have garlic, you have onions, you have a lot of plants that you see that you might think are just decorative, but they are actually edible. And again, you always have to check with your parents, but basically roses around the world, easy to identify, no poisonous lookalikes. They're all edible, rich in vitamin C and minerals, and the rose hips are full of vitamin C, and they actually don't taste terrible, right?
And if you want to get the better tasting ones, just go deeper towards the center. And they're protected from the outside, and they're also a little bit sweeter.
Absolutely. So, just things to start practicing with, but always remember with a grown-up and make sure that it's okay. All right. So now we covered food, water, fire. Now we got to talk about shelter. That's the fun stuff. Everybody's into the shelters. You can make shelters at your home. You can make shelters in your neighborhood, wherever it's safe to play. The key is always make sure that you're in a place where it's safe and that your parents know where your shelter is, right? So the first thing is, it's always best if you can find a natural shelter, but if not, you can always make a shelter. So first, we're going to talk about showing you how to make one of the best zombie-proof survival shelters. Gabe's going to give you a little class. We're going to show you a little video about a tree shelter.
The first thing you want to look for is a really easy to climb tree. Second of all, if you need some assistance getting up, then you might want to use a little log with some knobs sticking off of it as a little staircase to get up. Now, I'm going to collect some logs and lay it across this natural V section here so that I can make a safe platform. Now I have a safe, semi-comfortable, zombie-proof.
Okay, safe, semi-comfortable zombie tree fort. So what was the key to that?
The key to that was getting up high to a place where they can't reach you, and you want to really, really pack it stuffed tight with leaves. The more leaves you have, the more comfortable you're going to be, the better your sleep quality is going to be, and the less little zombie hands are going to be able to reach up and grab you.
That's right, and the more energy you have for running away from the zombies if they do find you, right? So that's one way that you can make a shelter and survive out in the wild, hiding from the zombies. Another way is, as you're thinking about packing your kit, you can put things in your kit like a poncho, right? You can put a civilian hammock or a military hammock. I actually like the civilian hammocks better because they help give you protection from the bugs a lot better. With military hammocks, they're smaller, they're lighter, but you end up with your skin sticking through the little squares, and that's just a place for the mosquitoes to come and eat, and that makes me sad and wake up all itchy. Or if you're worried about weight and size, you can just get like a little teeny space blanket. These things are tiny. You see how little that is. That'll cover your whole body. You can wrap up in it like a blanket. You can make it to a hammock. You can, string it to carry some stuff in it, or you can just use, because it's so shiny, you can use it for signaling, right? So these are great, easy things that you can pack in your survival kit for your shelter. But if you can't pack your kit, or you left it, or you never had one because you had to run from the zombies, we're going to show you another way that you can make a survival lean-to out in the wild. Please show the lean-to video. Thank you. This looks perfect. Hey y'all, Mykel Hawke here with my son Gabriel Hawke 16. He's going to help me teach y'all how to make a zombie survival lean-to shelter. And what you want to look for first and foremost is either a fallen down tree that's close to the ground so you can build under it, or like we found, a living tree that just goes about to your waist so you have enough room to crawl in and hide, and it's real easy to build some cover. I'm going to show you how to get it done in just a second. So first thing we need to do is start scouting around for some more wood. Okay, so now we got some wood that we can use for a shelter. You can go ahead and drop that. Next thing we got to do is we got to clear this space out, right? So all of these palm fronds we're going to put down for bedding. You want to think about making a nice soft cushion that you can sleep on, that'll keep you warm from the cold in the ground at night, also keep you up a little bit from the bugs. Well, normally what we find is 2 or 3 inches of leaves when you settle down makes about a nice inch of nice padding. So for now we'll start with the palm fronds for our bedding, our floor basically for our shelter. Just lay them all down, spread them around, nice and flat. Cool. Now sit on that. Okay, now you see how it goes just above your head? That's about all you want. You're not making a big mansion, folks. You're making just a little shelter. The smaller the shelter, the faster you can build it, the less energy, and the better you can hide from the zombies out there, because they're looking at eye level and you're down below eye level. So this is all the space that you need. If you need to cook or do any work, you can do it right here in front, and then at night when you're ready to go to sleep, you'll take a couple more palm fronds, cover yourself up for your insulation as well as hiding and camouflage. Next thing we want to do is we want to make the back of this strong so that you've got an actual shelter. So, sir, if you don't mind, we're going to take all these sticks and we're going to start to make a little teeny bit of a wall behind us. These will make great easy ones to put behind. Nice, nice. Now you want to make them so that they go a little bit back if you can, because that's where you're going to slide yourself into so you can sleep when it gets a little bit cold at night, right? So the longer ones you can put on the higher part, like these, right? Yeah, excellent, excellent. All right, and it's all a matter of kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. You just kind of fit whatever works. It's okay, it's not meant to be pretty. Okay, cool, cool, nice, nice. All right, so I think that's a nice little structure to get you started. Now we're gonna go gather up a little bit more palm fronds for our camouflage, for our roof, and for our bedding. We'll be back and then we'll show you how to finish it up.
put it all right there, mostly in the middle where you're gonna lay down. More there, because you're gonna scooch way up inside there. All right, now curl up in a ball like you're gonna sleep. Now, that gives you a good place to hide from zombies. They can't see you because you're down low. They wouldn't see you because you're perfectly camouflaged and protected from the rear. It'll stop the wind, the rain, the sun. You can cook and eat right here. And when you need to sleep at night, just to make sure you're extra safe, put a couple of palm fronds up. And you have your security. You can sleep snug as a bug in a rug. How do you feel?
Love it.
Awesome. Good night.
Night, night.
All right. Yes. Thank you. That was awesome. Gabe, you have slept out in the cold. And what's your take on how much padding you need to make sure you have a good bed?
Oof. You want to have enough so that you can't really see the floor beneath you. You don't want to have any gaps whatsoever for little creepy crawlies to get through. And yeah, you want to have a good solid layer, kind of like a mattress.
Yeah. So I always say, start off with 3 to 5 inches because it's going to be in 1 to 2 inches, and it makes all the difference. So if you have the time, gather up a lot of padding. That's really important. But let's say you don't have anything like that you can make a shelter right away. You can always improv with things around you. There's lots of trash out there, or you can just have some simple things that you can pack in your survival bag. It doesn't take up any space, but trash bags are amazingly versatile when you talk about survival. Firstly, you can turn a trash bag into a rucksack to carry stuff. You can turn it to a canteen to carry water. You can actually fill it with air if it's got no holes and use it for a flotation device. You can actually crawl in here, keep your head out, be careful with the plastic, and then stuff it with leaves and make it to a sleeping bag. What else can you do with it?
There's a few varieties you can do. You can use it because of the type of plastic, almost as a windbreaker type thing. You can use it.
We cut this one open so it looks kind of like a tarp, right? So you can make it as a rain fly. You can make it as a sunscreen. You can wear it like a little poncho or a blanket. You can use your walking stick to make a quick improvised shelter, just to make like a little A-frame over it. Here's another one, another example of what you can do with the trash bags.
You can do virtually anything.
Gabe is going to give you a trash bag survival fashion show. Oh, that's one. I think you got it on backwards, but the idea is there. You cut a couple of holes to stick your arms out, stick your head through. You can keep it on top of your head so the rain doesn't go down your neck and your shirt. Or just if you got to work and stay warm, you can just poke your head out like that so you can look around. So a trash bag is a surprisingly compact, affordable, and versatile tool that you can use for making your shelters, right? So now once you've got your shelter built and you're getting ready to lay down for the night, we're going to show you some tips so that you can have some security so you can sleep nice and safe and sound. Let's see the BOMA video, please. Nice jacket, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay. If we can't have the BOMA video, then we'll talk about the video. Yes, you get back civilized.
Okay, so a lot of places in the world will use a thing called a BOMA for security. They'll make a big pile of bushes around their shelter, usually thorny bushes like acacia. It's so effective it can keep lions out, so it can certainly keep zombies out for you. You got to work with what you have in your environment. If you don't have a bunch of thorny acacia trees, what we're using here is a bunch of dry branches and dried leaves, so at least it will make a sound. It won't stop them from getting in, but at least it will wake you up so that you can escape. So what I've done is I've laid some sticks down that when I step on, they crunch, and then I put leaves on top of them so that even if they don't crunch, that noise will wake you up and you'll know, hey, something's coming to my shelter. So last thing you do before you bed down for the night, put up your little security perimeter to give you some early warning and some safety. Put up your little camouflage to keep in your heat and your light, and more camouflage to hide from the zombies, and you should have a very good zombie lean-to survival shelter.
Okay, so just remember, with everything that you do out there in survival, right? Go slow. You go slow and you think about what could go wrong, because prevention is truly the best medicine. All right, that's how you avoid most of the issues. And then you think safe. What can I do to make myself safer? Like hiding, putting up security signals like the BOMA. Okay, excellent stuff. Now we've covered food, water, fire, shelter. Now we're going to cover navigation, right? So the first rule when you're surviving a zombie apocalypse is you got to make a decision. Are you going to stay put, or you're going to go somewhere. And that depends. If you're in a safe place, stay there. But if you're not in a safe place and you have to get to a safe place, that's when you might have to navigate. So now part of the list of supplies that we gave you guys to bring, if you have them, is a pencil and paper. And part of that is so that you can draw your own map for where you live or where you go to school and where your safe place is. So that way you can know where they are and how to get to them in an emergency, maybe even in the dark. And so one of the things that you need to absolutely know is where is north, so you can figure out what direction you need to go to safety or to your shelter, right? So for navigating outside of a map, the most important tool you can have is a compass. So for us here, we have a military compass, and these are really good for precision navigating. Okay, we used to have to navigate in the dark and find a little stick hiding in the bushes after 10 kilometers. That's pretty good, right? But not everybody needs all that. Sometimes you just need a good old-fashioned compass that will point you in the right direction, but maybe even that is too big. So you can actually just get a teeny tiny little compass that can give you your bearings right away, right? So that said, it's always good to have a compass. They can be various sizes, but what do you do if you don't have a compass, or you lost your compass, or the zombie grabbed your compass off you and you were able to escape, right? Well, we're going to show you a technique that you can use in the day or the night that help you find your true north so you can figure out where to go. It's called the shadow tip method. So let's show them the video.
Okay, one of the easiest ways to navigate if you don't have a compass and a map is you got to figure out what your east-west is so you can know your north and south. The easiest way to do that is with a shadow tip method. Super easy. Anyone could do it anytime. Just stick a stick in the ground. See where that shadow is right here? I'm going to put something to mark my shadow right there. That's my shadow. I can come back in 5 minutes. I can come back in 50 minutes, and that shadow will move. Earlier, I put a stick in, and it cast a shadow, and I put a pine cone to mark it. Now I wait a little while and I come back, and you can see the shadow has moved. So now I put another place marker. Then I draw a line between the two. That gives me my east-west line. The way it works is very simple. As the sun is rising in the east, it'll cast a shadow to the west. As the sun moves to the west, the shadow then moves to the east. So when I come back, wherever my first point was, I put my left foot. My last point, I put my right foot. That is my east to west line. My nose is facing north. My butt is where I sit in the south. And now I have my bearings. And the beautiful thing about getting your bearings in the day with a shadow tip, you can also use it when there's full moon, so you can navigate at night and still get to safety.
Okay, guys, that's a pretty cool tip that you can use, a little survival hack to find your bearings no matter where you are in the world, day or night. So that said, that covers food, water, fire, shelter. We're talking about navigation. Next is communication. So, but speaking of communication, we have some results in from the poll.
Yes, a poll from earlier. We have our results in upon your hardest place to survive. And we all overall agreed that it was the desert. Probably due to the lack of water, lack of food, lack of humans, everything.
So what's that percent right there?
64% voted for desert.
And then how many voted for sea?
Our second one was 15 people voted for the Arctic, 15%? And then 14 people voted for the sea.
Well, these
14%.
Right? Percents in people. All right. So, but the sea actually, guys, is for me the hardest one. And that's surprising, but it all depends on what you have. If I'm in a luxury yacht and I have everything, well, the sea's not so bad. But if I'm out there floating by myself with no floats, little sharks underneath me, and no food or water to be had, that's probably a little bit perilous, I'd say. The good news is, if you are stuck in the sea, you're probably not going to have to deal with zombies. So you always got to look at the bright side, right? Okay, so that poll was pretty good. Now we get back to the class of zombie survival, and we're talking about communications, right? If you've ever seen the movie E.T. Phone Home, that is always going to be your best bet. If you're in a jam, if you're in a bad spot, call for help, right? Let's say, how do you call for help? Well, obviously the modern day thing is everybody uses a telephone, right? So if you got a phone, that's a great way to go. Depending on what kind of survival kit you're making, a satellite phone you can call anywhere in the world. If you can't have that, you can always do little handheld radios. They're not very expensive. It allows you to talk from 1 to 5 miles, depending on what kind it is. And if you can't have a communications device, maybe you can have a listening device. I always like to have a little radio so I can listen to the news and know what's going on. And even if the power is down where you are, you might hear news from somewhere else where they still have power, right? And the kinds I always like to go for, the kind that have a little solar charger, or if there's no sun, I could just hand crank it, right? And this gives me a flashlight and a radio, gives me solar power, hand crank power, and I can even use it to charge other things. So there's lots of little stuff out there, but let's say you don't have any real technical types. There's also some primitive types of communications you can use for signaling, such as
a mirror. It's one of the most basic types. It's nothing but reflection. Due to the curvature of the Earth, it will only travel about maybe 10 to 15 miles on the ground. However, when you're signaling a plane or something up in the sky for help, it can travel up to 100 miles.
That's right. And speaking of, let's give them a little demonstration video. So one of the best pieces of kit you can have for your survival in signaling is a mirror. It's small, it's light. This little thing can be seen 100 miles away. So all you got to do is look through the hole, line it up with the sun, and then make it flash towards whatever you're trying to signal. 100 miles. Yeah, that's really good. Now, it's important to remember, guys, okay, on the ground, you can get 5, as Gabe said, up to 15 miles with because of the curvature of the Earth. That's about how far it can travel, right? However, if you're on a mountaintop shining down, or if you're on the ground shining up to a plane way up in the sky looking for you, you can get up to 100 miles. And that's pretty powerful for something that's so simple and so small. But you got to remember, you need to be able to signal day and night, right? So obviously can't use the mirror too much in the nighttime. So that's where little flashlights come in. And they could be anything as tiny as this little teeny light right here, or even like a bike light if you got something like that improvised, or even a full-blown light, right? That gives you whatever you need. And I always go for the ones that have solar. That way, if I run out of battery juice, I can recharge them, right? So those are your day and your night signals. But what about visual and audio, right? Everybody forgets about the audio. So a whistle will travel a long way depending on the environment. So it's good to have a whistle. You can see how small they are. What's the secret? What's the secret number that you blow?
You always want to do, even though I did 2, you want to do in blows of 3. Any kind of signaling you want to do in 3s.
Absolutely. So when you make a flashlight 1, 2, 3, or a whistle blow, go ahead, 1, 2, 3. All right, when you do that, that is a very distinct human sound, and that's what helps people out in the environment who may be looking for you or just passing by. That's what helps them realize, okay, that is a human in distress. That is the universal sequence for sending help, is do things in 3. Whether you're banging on metal cans or on poles or pipes or glass, just do it in 3s, right? Likewise, for your signals, you can use like shiny paper from your little space blanket or brightly colored clothes, and you can tie them up in trees, or you can spell Save Our Souls, SOS, or help out on the ground so that people up high can look for you. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to let people know where you are and that you need help. So anything that you can get for your bag. And then when you don't have anything, you have all these little improvs that you can think of, right? So that covers our communications. Now we see we have the results back from the other poll.
We have the results and all the answers from your favorite place to try to survive. It seemed like overwhelmingly people agreed upon the jungle as their favorite place, favorite climate. And then 25% voted for mountains. And then all really small sub 5% were voting for the sea, Arctic, and desert, so pretty reasonably.
And I would say that I give y'all who voted for the jungle and the mountains 2 thumbs up, because those I think are the best and in some ways the easiest, because they have lots of food, water, shelter, all natural. Yeah, so good job on that one. That said, the next thing we got to cover is tools, right? So of all your pillars of survival, food, water, fire, shelter, communication, navigation, you need to have tools, right? So good tools to have. Obviously, if you're grown up enough, you can have a knife, but you can take sticks and use those as a tool, like a little rabbit stick that looks like a little boomerang. You just sharpen your little points and throw it, and you can use that. Use rocks if you see the zombies and they're coming at you, and you can throw it from a distance so you don't have to engage. But in my personal opinion, I have a favorite that I think is the best survival tool out there. What is that?
The spear.
Indeed, the spear. You can do so many things with it. So now let's give you a little video class on how to harvest a spear.
this, I think, is going to make a perfect spear. A spear is one of your primary tools for self-defense when you're up against zombies and you're surviving. The secrets for a good spear, you want it to be taller than you, so if you fall, it never can poke you. When it's taller than you, it also helps you reach up in the trees and grab fruit. It helps you tell how deep water is. It helps you tell how far across a chasm you can jump. So this will make a good spear. And because this one has an extra V right here, if I get hurt and need to use it as a walking stick, that will work for me as well. So this is perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and harvest this spear. Perfect. Got a fork for stopping snakes, grabbing fruit, if I need it as a walking stick, but this is a good spear.
Okay, so here is that spear that we harvested out there, and I'm going to have Mr. Gabriel give you a quick class on all the different ways that we can use it.
It's got a fork right at the top, which is perfect for reaching places out of your reach. And you can go up and get apples from trees, get different kinds of fruit, maybe even knock down bird nests. You can use this right here. If you are injured, you can use it sort of as a little crutch. Wraps right around your arm. You can use it as crutches. Keep going. It's got a lot of benefits to it. You want to have something that's somewhat green when you get the wood. You don't want it to be too brittle or too dry so it won't snap on you. It's got to have a little bit of flexibility, but also some strength.
Yeah. And so the other things like I always like to pick one with a little fork, okay, because I can use the fork on it to like pin down critters if I need to, so I can, grab those for some munchies. As Gabe mentioned, for, harvesting fruit, because it's taller than me, it helps me determine how deep something is, like water, if I've got to traverse it, if it's over my head. If I got to jump over a chasm, I can measure how far the chasm is and see how far I can jump with the stick. As Gabe mentioned, if I get injured, I can use it as a crutch. You can also use this as part of your improvised shelter we're talking about earlier, like with the tarp or the trash bag. You just lay that up against a tree, and then you put your tarp over it, and you got an instant shelter just like that. Or just like when Gabe was demonstrating the little tree shelter and he had to make a little ladder of a branch. Because this is nice and strong, you can actually just lean that up against a tree if the zombies are chasing you, run up this, then pull the stick up, and then you're out of reach of the zombies and you're out of harm's way and you are safe because you've got the best tool for survival, which is
the spear. And you're most definitely not going to be getting bitten by any zombies with a good reach that this is going to keep with you.
And also, if you do encounter, it gives you a little bit of distance, a little bit of standoff, so you can poke them and say, hey, I fight back, leave me alone, and then, run away as soon as they get frustrated, right? So that said, I wanted to mention one more thing, like with the communications, right? You remember when we had the hurricane?
Yeah.
All right. So like we live in Florida and there are hurricanes here all the time. Everybody has some disaster, whether it's droughts or fires or earthquakes or something, right? Or in this case, zombies. But we had a bad hurricane here and all the power and all the commo was out. But on the phones, they all have a little Wi-Fi signal. And so there are apps out there like Zello where basically we were able to talk with our other friends by pinging off of the Wi-Fi, and you were able to communicate even though the cell phone towers were down. So those are really good tools. And all you tech smart kids out there, and not old crusty cotton tops like me, you guys learn that stuff and use everything that you can so you have the best chance of survival apocalypse. And the number one rule for all survival, other than go slow and safe, prevention's best medicine, is preparedness. The more you're ready, the less you got to worry about, right? So that said, I think that covers pretty much. Oh, we got one more big one. The big one. What's the last of the 8 pillars that we haven't talked about? First aid, right? First aid. What are you going to do when you get hurt, right? The 2 big things that happen to you is you get cut or you get broke, right? So we're going to show you guys what you can do about it. First, let's talk about first aid kits, all right? Okay, first aid kits can come in all sizes. You can make them according to the supplies that you have and the training that you have. You could have everything from, a tourniquet and big giant dressings. You could have just a little bit of dressings and maybe some splints and stuff, or even teeny ones that just have, like Band-Aids and maybe a little Neosporin or something like that. So you make your kits according to what you want to carry and what your training and what your supplies are, right? However, let's say you don't have any of this stuff, right? So it's super easy to have anything can become your first aid kit. Right here is just a pile of rags. So what happens when you get cut? I just been cut. Oh, That's exactly right. First thing you do when someone gets cut is you stop the bleeding. That's the first thing Gabe did, was put his hand on there. It's okay, because at the end of the day, you're going to have to clean it up. You might have to take antibiotics. You just want to save the red blood cells. So see the blood, stop the blood. Now, what's the next thing you want to do after you stop the blood, right? Put some kind of dressing on there. Boom. Okay. Now, that's good, but I'm still bleeding. So what's the next thing you could do?
Elevation.
Elevate, right? So now he's got direct pressure on me. He's elevating me. He's got a
cut above the heart,
and trying to to get above the heart so it slows down, stops the bleeding. Now that's not working. So what's the next thing you could do? All right, that's right. So you put a dressing, you try elevating, and then you do direct pressure, and then you take a rag and tie it around, right from the bottom. Yep, and then tie the knot right on top
for direct pressure,
and there you go. There you go. Now I have a dressing on me that has a dressing. It's been elevated. It's direct pressure. The knot's right on top, and the bleeding has stopped. That is how you do your first aid. So what I want you guys out there to do, because if you brought your sticks and rags from the supply list, now's your chance to try to put your dressing either on yourself or your friend or your folks, right? And then take a picture of it. And when you take a picture of it, you can post it on your social media, and you can put some little hashtags. We're going to show you a little hashtag thing so that we can then come and look for your pictures and give you guys some critique, some compliments, maybe some tips on how to make it better, right? So right there on your screen should be showing you guys all the hashtags, and I'm going to be coming after this class looking for your posts so I can give you guys some comments and let you know how you did, right? So that's one thing you could do. Someone gets cut, you got to stop the bleeding. Now, the next injury that can happen to people is you get broke, right? So what do you do when you get a broken arm? Gabe had a broken arm before, right?
Yeah. Not move it around.
Yes.
Want to do.
Yes, not move it around, which is exactly right. So this right here is a basic first aid kit. All it is some sticks and rags. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. So just what Gabe was saying, the first rule is you want to stabilize it so it doesn't move around, right? So how do you stabilize a fracture? Well, basically you want to splint the joint below
and above
and the joint above, right? So you grab some sticks that are about the right size of the patient, okay? And they can help you just like I'm doing here, right? Now you want to tie a knot above the break and below the break. And in this case, you want to tie the knot exactly right on top of the actual wood, right? So it's not on the person's skin, right? So that's it. And then now go below. Perfect. And it doesn't take a whole lot, right? And you can do this really quickly. And then one more. All right, perfect. So now he has put the splints on. He's secured 2 below, 2 above the fracture. He's got my joint above and the joint below immobilized. So now I am stable and he can get me to first aid without worry about causing more damage. So again, this is a great chance for you guys to practice putting on your splints, take some pictures, post them on social media with the hashtag so we can come out there and find you guys and tell you what a great job you did. And I'll be very excited to see some of the examples that you guys have done. So those are the 8 principles of survival, the pillars, in this case, the zombie apocalypse survival hacks, right? Awesome stuff. That said, I think, what do you think? You think they're ready for a test?
I believe so.
Okay.
If they've kept their memory on.
If they've kept their memory on. Okay. So I think with that said, guys, I think we're ready to put you guys to the test and see how well you learn what we taught you here today. So if we can, let's pull up the questions. The survival quiz. Now remember, guys, whoever answers these the quickest as well as correctly, then some of you guys are going to have Bethany announce your names for doing it very well and very fast, right? And then everybody's going to get a certificate of participation showing that you've attended this class and that you survived the zombie apocalypse training. All right, that said, let us begin with the first question. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, first question. We want to get away from the poll. Okay, can you read that? Okay, which of these plants is universally edible? Is it A, trees, B, grass, or C, dandelion? You get 30 seconds to choose your answer, and then we will give you a review and we will move on. So, tick tock, tick tock. Are you going to be the first one? Are you going to get it right? Do you remember what we said? Okay. All right. So, looks like we have the answers in. And what is the answer?
So, good 78% of people voted for the correct answer, which was dandelion.
Nicely done. Good job, y'all. Okay. Second question.
Okay.
All right. And this one should be water. Okay. Can you read that?
Okay.
No, not go to poll. Exit out there. Technology.
Which is a good and can't see the full question.
What is a good way to make water safe to drink? A.
Boil it. B. Wash it out. C. Dry it.
Okay, that's a tough one, but I'm expecting you guys to do well on this. So let us see. Remember, you got 30 seconds. Fastest, bestest is going to winnest. All right. So I think we're about ready for us to reveal the answer. What answer do you think it is? Okay, there you go. The correct answer is
boil it. A.
Boil it. A. That is affirmative. Good job. Nicely done. Okay, now let's go on after the third question. Okay, fire. Let's see. Matches and lighters are a good way to start a fire. Is that true or is that false? It's a tough one. It's very tough. I'm just going to give you like 2 seconds for that one. But we are fair about this, so everybody gets 30 seconds. And then when we reveal the answer, I think it's going to be shocking. Okay. So the answer is A, letter A, which is true. Absolutely. The best way to get a fire going is with fire and matches and lighter matches, because if you got fire, you don't need to make fire. Okay. And that said, let's look at, I think, the fourth question now, right? Let's go to shelter, please. There it is. Okay. Okay, keep popping that little thing up. Yeah, X out of that.
It's a good natural shelter.
No, what is a good shelter, I think, because some of it's cut off for us here, folks. But you can read the answers there. A is a natural cave. B, a trash bag used as a tarp. Or C, both. So, what is a good survival shelter? Could be a little bit tricky. Let's see how they do. What the answers could be. And the answer is
both.
Yeah. Number C. Or letter C, I should say. Letter C. Both. They're both very good. If you can find a natural shelter, that's great. If not, you can improvise one with a trash bag. That's perfectly correct. Okay, good. Now let's go on to the next question, please. All right, navigation. Oh, let's pop that out of the way. Thank you, sir. Okay. How do you find north without a compass? Okay. So A, shadow tip method. B, moss on trees. C,
look on the ground.
Okay, what do you think? What do you think? That's a tough one. Has nothing to do with anything that we've shown you here in the videos. Wouldn't be that in a way. Okay, let's give them a go. Let's see what they picked as the answer. Okay, what is the correct answer, sir?
The correct answer is the shadow tip method, or A.
That is 100% correct. Man, you're very smart. Very smart. I like working with this guy. He's all right. I think we'll keep him. Okay, let's go on to the next question, please. Dun, 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 dun. Communication. This one's tricky.
Yeah.
All right. How far does a signal mirror go?
This is at its most.
All right. Yes, good point. All right. So is it A, 10 miles?
B, 100 miles, or C, 1,000 miles?
What do you think? What do you think? That's a good one. Okay. All right. Give you a little bit of time. Noodle on that. That one's kind of tricky. It is. It is. All right. I think they've had enough time. Let's go see what the answer is then. All right. What's the answer?
B, 100 miles.
That's exactly correct. So remember, with the curve of the earth, you might only get 5 to 15 miles if you're on the ground. But if you're on a mountaintop going down or on the ground going up to the plains in the sky, you can get up to 100 miles with a little itty bitty signal mirror. That's good stuff to know. Okay. All right. So that said, let's go on to the next question, please. First aid. Very, very good. Okay. What is the first thing you should do in first aid? Can't read the rest of the question there, but I believe that is the question. And the answers are what?
A, fix fractures. B, stop bleeding. Or C, go and find help.
So what's the very, 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 very first thing that you do?
Immediately.
Yeah. If you see someone bleeding, are you going to fix the fractures while they're bleeding? Or are you going to go find help while they're bleeding? Perhaps not. So kind of narrows it down a little bit. All right, that's enough time. Let's see how they answered. Dun, 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 dun. What do you got?
B, stop bleeding.
100%. Just like Gabe did. As soon as he saw me cut, stop the bleeding. Put your hands on it and then find something to dress it up. Okay? Excellent. Now, let's go on to the next question, please. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, safety. Which is the best tool for survival in general? What do you got there? What are the possible answers?
There's a spear, there's a rock, or there's a rope.
So A is a spear, B is a rock, C is a rope. Which one do you think? Because they're all kind of good. They're all kind of good, right? Yes, and the little man right there in the cartoon has the answer, I think. So hopefully that's not a dead giveaway. I think it kind of might be. All right, so let's see what they did, how they do. Let's look at the answers here.
There we go. The correct answer, not at all given away by the little man standing there, is a spear.
Right. So the letter A. Excellent. Okay, let's go to the next question, please. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. That little thing pops up. If you get lost, what is the best thing to do in general? This is a very good question, y'all.
Okay.
All right.
So either stay where you are and make signals, which is A. B would be try to find your own way to safety. And C would be do nothing.
Right. So now that was a bit of a tricky one because we covered that up top, and it's almost always best if you are in a safe place, you know what to do, right? Okay, so that's enough time. Let's see what the answer is, please. Drum roll. All right. The answer is A.
Stay where you are and make shelters and signals.
Awesome. Okay, I love it. Is there another question for the team? We're trying to tax their little brains, put them to the test. Next question, please. Okay, there you go. That's it. This is the big one. Let's pop that out of the way.
Very key to your survival.
Yes. If you see a zombie, what action would you not take first? Remember, see a zombie. What do you not do first? Okay, A, run away.
B,
only if they see you though, right? B, stay put, but only if they don't see you, then you stay put. Or C, attack the zombie. So if you see a zombie, what do you not want to do first? This one is a little brain teaser. Let's see how you do. We'll give you a couple more seconds here, and then we'll pull up the answers. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let us see what the answer is, please.
C, do not attack the zombie.
That is correct, guys. All right. So if you see a zombie and he doesn't see you, you stay put. If you see a zombie and he sees you, you run away. Whatever you do, don't try to engage the guy. He might get a little bite on you, and then you turn into a zombie. Then I got to be running away from you, and I don't want that. It makes me sad, and everybody else gets sad. Your friends don't want to hang out with you no more because you're a zombie. It's just bad. So don't attack the zombie. Okay. Now let's go and take a look and see what the percentages are of how everybody did. Right. Okay.
On attacking the zombie, 60% of people
Right,
for that.
right. Okay, does this go up and back? Okay, all right. 79% got stay where you are and make signals. Fantastic. Make a shelter. All right. What is the best tool in general? 92% got the spear. Good job. Good job. On the first aid, 91% got stop the bleeding. Good one. On the communication, 72% got the 100 miles. And like I said, that was a little bit tricky. On question 5, navigation, shadow tip method, 92%. So you guys are pretty sharp out there. That's a good job. Okay, on the shelter, doing both. Surprisingly, what number is that?
57.
Yeah, okay. So that's interesting. Hopefully you learned something. And remember, for every little bit of wisdom that I have, it's because I did it wrong 10 times and had to learn the hard way, right? So anything that you get wrong, don't sweat it, because you're going to learn from it. You probably learn more from the things you get wrong than the things you got right, okay? On the fire, it is true that matches and lighters are the easiest way to start a fire. 94% of you got that. On the water, what is a good way to make it water safe to drink? Boil it.
95.
That's good. Now you guys are tracking. Glad to hear it. And then on the food, what plant is universally edible?
80% got dandelion.
Yes. Good job, guys. Good job. Really proud of you there. That said, that's the results from the test. That is the test. Hopefully you survived the test. And I think now we're probably going to open it up to some question and answers with you guys. So let you get a chance to put us on the spot and ask us whatever you want that's related to zombie and the apocalypse survival. Okay, turning it over for you guys. Oh, wait. Hold on. I see a little book up here. I think there was a bonus question. We're just going to ask you guys, and you can put that right down in the chat. What are the 8 pillars of survival? Now, that is an open-ended question that you guys can put into the chat, and we can see who's getting it right and who ain't. And that is your bonus question. And remember, we're going to tally up all this. We're going to let you guys know who were the top performers right at the end of the show with Miss Bethany. And you guys will then know if you have a chance of surviving zombies in the survival apocalypse or not. Okay, that said, I think now we are ready to turn it over to the Q&A session. So, there you go. There are your answers. If you didn't know them, now you do. Okay, be sure you have those all memorized. If you don't walk away from here with that locked in your head, I'll be sad because I didn't do my job, right? Then I have to do push-ups and Gabe will have to supervise and count. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Okay, so that said, good job, guys. That is the class. That is the test. Let's have some Q&A with you guys and see what you got to say and ask us about.
Hey,
There's
Mike.
Bethany. Hey.
Great session. I actually have the questions on my end. Sorry about that. I will go ahead and ask you a few questions from some of our campers. Okay.
Awesome.
One of the questions is based on that straw you guys were talking about. Can you put it directly into the ocean and drink from that?
That is a brilliant question. And the short answer is no. You need a distinct desalinator in order to drink the salt water from the ocean. Okay. You can actually boil ocean water and let the condensation gather up top and then drip down into another bucket. The water that is boiled is pure. The salt molecules stay in the bottom, and that's how you can make salt water safe to drink, by boiling it and catching the condensation. But unless you have a specific desalinator, the life straws will not work in salt water. So very, very good question.
Great. I was actually very curious about that too. All right, Mykel, we have some questions coming in a little bit more about your combat training. Can we talk a little bit, like in a hypothetical zombie apocalypse, let's say you are going hand-to-hand combat with some zombies. Some of our kids want to know what are some of the best ways to fight them off?
Okay, so very simply, sorry, I'm going to have to use Gabe as my little demonstration monkey here. So the best thing that you can do when you're encountering a zombie is deflect and run away. You don't want to engage, right? So give me like a good zombie posture. Now I'm scared, right? So my hands are up. No, don't get me. All I have to do is swoop to the side and then run away. That's it. Just put your arms up in a big motion and hit him from the outside, inside. Just knock his arms away, push him out of the way and run, and they'll break contact and you'll be safe and you'll live another day without a zombie feasting on your brains.
Amazing, Gabe. That was really great zombie impersonation.
It's a good demo.
We have another question about injuries. Can you use any kinds of leaves to cover up blood or a cut or something like that?
Yes, you can use leaves, and most leaves will probably be fine, but you just got to remember, you don't know what leaves you're grabbing. So there might be a chemical that the person might be allergic to, or they might be poisonous. So, but if you know what the leaf is, like a good old-fashioned oak leaf or a banana leaf or something like that, yeah, then that's a fine thing to do. Just don't put any plants on that you're not sure what they are.
And clean the leaf first.
That's a good point too, if you can. Yeah, good.
Great. And some of our campers want to know a little bit about how you trained Gabe. Were you left in the wilderness? Did you have to fend for yourself? I know it must be a lot of pressure having Mykel as a dad. So tell us a little bit about your interest in survivalist stuff. They want to know all about you, Gabe.
Yeah, I've gotten a fair amount of my training through doing little survival thingies. Boy Scouts helped me quite a bit while I was growing up. Would go out and do little camping things there, and he would always help me through, keep me alive.
Yeah, I mean, just last summer he did a summer survival experience with the Eagle Scouts, and they all went out there and they built their own shelters. You know, they foraged for their own food. What did you end up eating that day?
Oh wow, we used our makeshift fish hooks to catch fish out of the water, and after we had distributed the food around to all the campers and all the people out there, I was left with the leftover ends. So I had to survive that night off of boiled fish head soup in a canteen and with river water.
And fish eyes. That was his dessert.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. 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 Okay, Mykel, some of our campers also want to know, and of course, we don't know if this is classified information, but they want to know what is the most sort of dangerous and precarious situation you've ever been in, and how did you get out of it?
Okay. So that's a good question, guys. So, I've spent, almost 30 years in special forces. I still work with them and been in 9 different conflicts. And I would have to say probably one of my hairiest experiences was being in Africa and being surrounded by a bunch of guerrillas and being by myself. And they all drew their weapons on me. I was captured. I thought, that was it. But then with quick thinking, I actually started laughing just because I said, okay, I'm going to go. So what would I always want to do? Want to write a book. And it was a cliche, and that made me smile. And because I smiled, I had glasses on. They couldn't see how scared I was. So they all lowered their weapons and were like, why is he smiling? And then I made up a total story. I said, you see this helicopter behind me? If you shoot this, it's going to blow up and blow all you up. So you should just leave me alone and let me just take you where you want to go, and I drop you off. And surprisingly, they did it. And then I said, bye-bye. And then I went away, and then I called the soldiers on them, and then they went bye-bye. And that's how I always survived. That was one of my scariest little situations. It was just quick thinking, never giving up.
Yeah, I would say that definitely that's quite an amazing skill to be able to think on your feet under pressure like that.
It was total luck, and
yeah.
Maybe some help from upstairs, right?
Absolutely. And okay, I think we have time for one more question. Okay. In case you do ingest a poisonous bug or use a poisonous leaf, in case, all the what ifs out there, what do you do if you sort of, even with all these amazing tips, what if you do find yourself in a scary situation with nature?
No, that's absolutely wonderful question too, guys. I'm really proud of you. You've really put forth some fantastic questions. It can happen. It does happen. One of the first things you can do is, if you eat something and you feel like it's making you not well, is basically you have to get rid of it, right? So try to clear it out. Basically you have to go somewhere and vomit. If you can't get it out, really easy improv for help stabilizing and neutralizing toxins and poisons you may have ingested is just taking ash from your fireplace, right? Because that stuff acts like a little chalk. It will get in there, and the charcoal will actually neutralize toxins, and it will stabilize your tummy until your body can process it and pass it out. So that's your quick answer, is if you do ingest something poisonous, try to get it out. And then if you don't have anything else like medicines that you can take, you can always mix up a little bit of ash with some water and make a little slurry. It tastes nasty, but it could help save your life. Good question.
Great to know. Actually, we're not quite ready to announce the winner, so I'm going to ask you a few more questions while we're just sort of buying our time here. Let's see. If you're running and through the woods, I'm assuming, and you already find a bunker set up, should you use that? Or what precautions should you take there if you see like something already set up?
Okay. Well, for me, I'm like, hey, if it's there, yeah, I'm going to use it. But Why is it there?
Yeah.
Did someone else set it up? Did they set up booby traps? So first thing I do is just go very slow, check everything out, make sure it's safe. But if it's already built, why not? Just make sure you have a way to get out. So if the zombies do show up, you can still get out safely.
Okay, great. Now, let's say we're camping in the woods and we do get lost. They want to know, they want to know if you do have supplies on your back, but you can't, the questions keep coming in so fast. You have limited supplies, what would you suggest? Do you suggest starting to forage right away, building that right away, even if you do have some supplies, or just sort of wait, stay put, and signal? What do you suggest there?
These are really, really, really good questions. And I love them because they show that everybody's thinking and they're engaged, right? So the secret sauce in general is if you get lost and separated, stay put, right? If you've got some supplies, that's even better. So the first thing you want to do is assess what is your situation. If it's getting dark, you may need to make a fire or make shelter. If it's cold, make fire. If it's rainy, make a shelter, right? That may be your priority. But the first thing, always remember what I said, ET phone home, right? So first thing you need to do, start blowing that whistle. Hopefully, in threes, hopefully somebody will hear you and come, right? And then if you try that for a little while and nobody's coming and it looks like the sun's getting ready to set, then you start making your other priorities like getting some food or getting a fire or getting some shelter, getting some water, all right? So it's always going to be situation dependent, all right? But first and foremost, always remember, call for help first.
Got it. And then we have a question about water again. If you did mention leaving the water in the sun for 8 hours, is that the maximum? Should you not leave it in the sun more than 8 hours? The kids want to know.
I think that's got to be a future engineer or scientist asking a question like that, right? Well, the general rule is you need a minimum of 8 hours so that the UV light can actually penetrate all the way through the bottle, kill all the bacteria, make it safe for humans, right? So leaving it longer won't hurt. It'll probably buy you a little bit more time that it will store before the bacteria can build up enough that if you drink it the next day, it can make you sick. So if you can leave it out for 12 hours, that's even better. It just depends on how much water you have. But just remember, no matter what, the sun won't clear everything out of it like boiling will. So you will have to put it back the next day, okay? But if you put it in the sun and you drink it, put fresh stuff out, you'll be good to go. But no, leaving it longer won't hurt it.
Got it. And
Absolutely.
Mykel and Gabe, we have a lot of questions coming in about honey to use to treat wounds. Now, I don't know if you'd have honey on hand when you're out in the wilderness, but talk to us a little bit about that.
So there's lots of, science has been around fairly recently in human history. We've learned a lot of old things that people used to do. And so, yes, in fact, honey is a great thing to put on burns or put on wounds. However, if you're surviving, you can eat that honey. That's a lot of energy. Where I could just use soap and water to clean the wound. So if I got a choice, I'm going to eat the honey and use something else to clean the wound. But if that's all I got, yes, you absolutely can use honey because it has a high sugar content. It has antimicrobial and antibacterial properties. So it is something you can use. That's a really brilliant question. Someone out there is really thinking.
Yeah, they're really interested about that honey. But okay, so now I know we're talking about zombies, but some of the kids want to know about some of the wild animals. If you're encountering a wild animal while you're out in the wilderness, what do you suggest there?
Yeah, the rule for zombies is pretty much the same as the rules for wild animals. Avoid them if you can, right? If they don't see you, stay still, let them go one by. If they see you, then you got to think about the running, right? Because the animals might be able to outrun you a lot faster than the zombies. So then you got to think, okay, can I hide in some place where they can't reach or hide up somewhere where they can't reach? If I can't outrun them at all, I might need to turn around and hold my ground with a spear. But the biggest thing, just like with everything in survival, if you go slow and you look first and you think about what could go wrong, you will probably end up spotting the animals before they spot you, right? And then if you spot them, you just respect their space and go around and leave them alone and don't go back that way.
Just keep your distance.
Yes.
Super smart. And now we talked a lot about what you should do and a little bit about what you shouldn't, but some of our kids are asking, is there anything you absolutely should not bring with you? Like the worst thing to bring?
I don't know that I could even answer that. That is a tremendously good question because we always joke in the military and say, I have 100 pounds of lightweight stuff, but my rucksack still weighs 100 pounds. So it's still heavy. So basically I always say, make sure you can carry whatever you pack. That's the number one rule. You know, once you pack your little survival bag, put it on and walk around a little bit and feel, you know, what it feels like and decide, oh, okay, I can carry a little bit more or not. And then think, how much can I carry while I'm running from zombies? And if you can still carry it while you're running from zombies, then it's probably just the right weight for you.
Right. And then some of our kids also want to know about desert survival, because chances are you won't be able to do a bunker. So any quick tips there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first rule about the desert is only work in the morning and the evening while you got the sunrise and the sunset. You got a little bit of light, but it's not directly overhead, because working in the middle of the day will dehydrate you quicker than anything, and then you'll be done, right? So if you have good moonlight, because there's not a lot of things in the desert, you can walk fairly safely across the desert at night. You know, do your food and water in the morning and the evening, and then just sleep during the day. And that's the best way that you can get through surviving in the desert.
Got to live nocturnally.
Yes. Well said.
Gotcha. And I think along in the same vein here, what do you do if you get bitten by a snake?
Okay. So that's a really good question. All right. First and foremost, avoid snakes, right? If you're looking for them, you'll probably see them, right? It's only like when you're grabbing your firewood and stuff like that, that people get a little sloppy and they don't pay attention, they get bit. Now, most snakes out there aren't going to be poisonous. And the poisonous ones, if you surprise them, then they don't have enough time to get the poison into their glands and inject it into you. Or if they started to bite you and you pulled away and you got a little graze. But at the end of the day, the number one rule about getting snake bit is seek medical attention as soon as you can and stay calm, right? So if you stay calm, then you slow the heart rate, you slow the amount of poison that's spreading through your body with each heartbeat. So you just want to try to lay down, stay calm, get to seek help. Clean the wound, but no one says put tourniquets on anymore. No one says to cut the wound and suck the poison out. Don't do any of that crazy stuff. Just stay calm and get help.
If you suck it out, the poison is just going to end up going and getting ingested through your mouth.
That's right. Right through your buccal mucosa in the cheek, and you're going to get poisoned that much faster. So don't do it. The main thing is avoid them, stay calm, and know this. Most every kind of snake out there, we have antivenins for, so there's treatment for most of them. I think the only one is if you're in Africa and you got a black mamba bite. Well, you guys know the rule there, right? Probably ain't gonna be good.
I don't even want to think about that one, to be honest. Right. All right. The kids want to know, remember, these questions are coming from them, not me, but the kids want to know about what to do if you need to use the bathroom in the woods and you're stuck. What do you do then?
There's certain kind of leaves.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
there's certain kind of leaves you can find which have basically like a natural small little hair layer follicles, and it makes it so it's really soft and squishy. So you can use that almost like toilet paper.
Yes. So basically, I mean, going to the bathroom is natural. It's normal. You just go out in the woods. In the military, what we try to do is we try to hide it so we don't leave a sign, right?
Yeah.
Dig a little hole, cover it up. That way the animals don't dig it up and you don't have to worry about the flies.
Zombies don't track you.
And the zombies don't track you. So the main thing is do what you got to do. Just be safe, cover it up, stay clean. Hygiene is one of the most important things that you can do no matter where you are. Keeping your hands clean before you eat, before you do anything is one of the number one things that will keep you from getting sick. So just keep good hygiene and keep good practices of consideration of other people. Hide, don't leave a sign.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I think we're going to email the winners. Unfortunately, it's taking longer than we thought, and I'm so sorry to say that, but we're going to email you guys pretty much right after this session to let you know who the winners of the quizzes are. Mykel and Gabe, thank you so much. We learned so much about the 8 pillars of survival. I can't wait to get out there and maybe try some of them myself. Remember, if you kids are going out, be sure to tell your parents where you're going, get all their permission. So I'll hand it over to you for a quick sign off.
Okay, guys, I just want to say for me and my son, Gabe, thank you guys for being interested in it, for coming to our class, for being part of this experience. Make your own little bags, work things out with your parents, have a plan, and good luck out there. Happy survivaling.
All right, guys, thank you. And while Mykel and Gabe are signed off, we just wanted to remind you guys that our next summer camp and global skill fest is next Saturday, July 23rd, with the creator of Nas Daily, Nusser Yassin. Nusser will talk to you about how he creates all of his amazing YouTube videos and the art of telling a great story. Later this summer, you'll also have a chance to spend time with Star Talk's Neil deGrasse Tyson, top 5 Minecraft player Jerome ASF, and a real AI robot, Sophia the robot. So don't miss out. We love having you here each week. So please continue on with us every Saturday. We can't wait to see you back here. Have a happy summer, guys. See you soon.
This summer, give your child an incredible opportunity to learn interesting things, do incredible feats, and meet awesome new friends from around the world. Reimagine summer.
Hello everybody, my name is Nusser from Nas Daily, and we make lots and lots of videos. Today, we are coming to teach you about storytelling. Share your ideas with the world. This will be super interesting for kids, for parents. It's gonna be full of energy. We're gonna learn together. So join me virtually. See you soon.
I'm David Hansen. Artificial intelligence, or AI, and robotics are huge parts of our future. The best thing is, they're actually fun.
Who doesn't like to play with robots?
Exactly, Sophia. And AI can also be used for good, such as healthcare, getting clean water in rural areas, and solving the energy crisis. We need AI in education, and we need fresh minds like yours to help.
Which is why David and I will be hosting a workshop where kids get to learn about robots and AI.
You'll learn about the future of robots and AI, and you'll learn the skills that will help you be successful in the world of tomorrow.
And for the first time ever, I will be teaching a science class.
That's right. So this summer, get smarter about AI and be one of the first kids ever to be taught science by a humanoid robot.
Together, we can reimagine robots.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eileen Kennedy Moore. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm the author of Growing Friendships, Kid Confidence. Almost every kid struggles with friendship challenges at some point in some way. The good news is that there are skills and strategies to help you manage these common but difficult friendship challenges. I hope you'll join me to see if you can figure out some tips about how to handle common friendship challenges.
Hey everyone, my name's Jerome Assetti, also known as Jerome ASF, and I've been a content creator over on YouTube for 14 years. I've specialized in Minecraft, which is exactly what my summer camp workshop is going to be all about. I'm going to be calling upon campers like yourself that are super talented in building some of the best Minecraft builds we've ever seen. Common challenge known as Build Battle. You're going to get a set amount of time, set topic, and we're going to leave it up to you campers to vote on which is your favorite build from all the contestants. It teaches a bunch of life skills, creativity, time management, thinking outside the box to solve a problem. Can't wait to take part in this summer camp initiative. See your awesome builds. Good luck.
Hi guys, I'm Logan, one Master Chef Junior, youngest person to cook in the James Beard House, and I've given 2 TEDx talks. And for this amazing summer camp, I'm going to be showing you guys 3 awesome dishes that you can master to impress your friends, family, and yourself. I'm also going to show you some really cool tips and tricks to help you out in the kitchen. I'll see you this summer. Bye.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Mykel Hawke, retired U.S. Army Special Forces combat veteran, survival expert, and martial artist. I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know to survive a zombie apocalypse. We're going to have so much fun, you're going to almost wish zombies were real. I'm going to teach you the 8 pillars of survival: food, water, fire, shelter, navigation, communication, medicine, and tools. And not only will it help you survive anything to do with zombies, it'll serve you well in all of your life skills. Looking forward to seeing you.
Hi, I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, and this class is for kids only. Colonize Mars, travel into a black hole, track an asteroid, and my life lessons for 21st century kids. This is going to be a lot of fun.